So since our last video where I made that silicone mold of the hood ornament, I've gone on to create a lot of copies. And my goal today is to see what I can do to replicate that mirrored chrome finish from the original. Now that to me is one of the holy grails of the home workshop, a chromed mirror finish on plastic. I grew up with those little spray bomb cans with the chrome lids, and they were always a huge disappointment. What I'm looking for today is to see if there's been any improvement on that front, and for that I have scoured the internet finding numerous different possibilities, and I'm going to try them out today. Now I have found a few things out on the internet that look really promising. A few years ago I saw a demo where a guy was slapping chrome paint on a sample product. For some reason he was doing it on the hood of a car. I never did understand that part. But the results of that looked really good. I looked into it though, and that product, it's extremely expensive to get set up to use. The other product that looks promising is a multi-step process where you have to apply an activator and then rinse it down with deionized water. And then there's a few other steps where you finally hit it with two different sprays of two different chemicals, and it provides a really nice finish. But getting set up to do that particular sequence is also expensive. And that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something I can just go out on a whim to Amazon and purchase and get a respectable finish. So what I've done to get us to this point after making all these castings, I sanded them down a little bit, primed them, and painted them with a gloss black lacquer. That seems to be the industry standard for getting a good chrome finish, starting with black. Now that was just a little bit more complicated than it sounds. Urethane castings do not really like to accept paint, especially if you've used a mold release. I did find this product though from the custom shop. It's an Adhesion Promoter. What you have to do first is wash your parts in hot soapy water, and once they dry, you can apply the Adhesion Promoter, let it sit up for 20 to 30 minutes, and then apply your top coat. First thing I want to try today is the DupliColor Automotive Metallic Series Chrome High Gloss Finish. This can costs about $10. It says to apply 2 to 3 light coats with about 10 minutes between them. Okay, next up, we're going to try the Krylon Premium Metallic Original Chrome. This is an 8-ounce can, costs about $10. Well, this seems to have really good coverage. This says to apply several light coats, multiple thin coats, wait 1 minute between each coat. Alright, next up we're going to try the Krylon Dual Superbond. Now this one does not have the chrome cap. It's a silver metallic, indoor-outdoor fast drying. And this is a 12-ounce can. And I think I really overpaid for this. I paid like $30 for this can, which is insane. Alright, this is a very different finish. This almost looks like it has metallic powder in it. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's actually like metallic particles floating around in the air. Alright, next up is the Ultimate Mirror Chrome from Spaz Stix. Now this one here is a little bit different. We're not using this in the way it's intended. This product, actually, I've seen it, it does give a really nice mirror finish, but it's supposed to be used on the back side of clear plastic. Like if you're painting inside of a remote control car where the car itself, the body is Lexan, you would spray this on the inside, and the outward appearance would be a very nice chromed finish. We're going to try to use it on the outside though and see what that gives us. This is also an expensive product. This little can, which is only 3.5 ounces, is about $26. Alright, so next up is kind of an old standard for doing metallic finishes. This is called Rub and Buff. It's a metallic wax. In this case, the color is Silver Leaf. So we'll be giving this a try and see how it looks. Now, I don't expect this to be a mirror finish. This is kind of just a quick and dirty way of creating a metallic finish, but not necessarily a mirrored metallic finish. And a little bit of this goes a long way. Okay, so there's that. It kind of ends up with a brushed aluminum type look. Not a mirror finish, but not a bad finish. This one is a little bit different. This one's actually a lot different. What I have this time is Silver Leaf. This is a little booklet of genuine silver leaf. So what you do is you take this sizing, they call it, it's kind of an adhesive. You spread this all over the part that you want to cover with the silver leaf. You let this dry, it gets tacky, and then you actually apply these feather light pieces of silver over top. And I've never done this before, so there's probably somebody screaming right now about how I'm putting it on too thick, or how I'm brushing it too much, or I'm not brushing it enough, or any number of different mistakes I'm probably making. But this is going to be a case of live and learn. Alright, I'm going to say that that's good enough. So I've let the sizing sit up for about half an hour. It's no longer wet. We're just going to apply it. This is $9, I think, for the sizing, and $13 for this little packet of silver. So I'm kind of curious to see what this gives us, because this is actually true silver. That's the silver leaf. So next up is what I consider to be the true outlier in this whole group as far as using something in the home workshop. These are powders that are intended to use for doing nails, and they're actually a metallic powder. You apply what is essentially a UV cure acrylic resin over the piece. You cure the resin, and then you buff this powder in and presumably create a metallic finish. So we're going to give that a try. This is called a glass finish gel, and it's known as a no-wipe top coat, which from my research means that after it's cured, it does not have a sticky residue that needs to be wiped off. And this is what you need to put on prior to the glitter powder or the chrome powder or whatever you want to call it. With going for the mirror finish, any imperfections in the surface are going to show up in the finish. Of course, that's the same with all the finishes here. This is our UV curing light. So we're going to turn this on and cure it for about a minute. I think this is our silver here. And it's sealed for my protection. Made a mess for my protection. Alright, this is where the magic is supposed to happen. I'll leave links down below in the video description to all of the products I mentioned during this project. That powder just sticks to that top coat, even though the top coat it's dry. It's I guess it has just enough tackiness to it. I'm cleaning up all the mess from my workbench. That was not the brightest move ever. This almost seems magical. I've been able to cover this whole thing with just what spilled on the workbench. This stuff goes a long way. There's a lot of residue on there. Wow. That's amazing. That is by far the best finish we've gotten so far. That is impressive. These nail salons have been holding out on us. I gotta admit, I kind of want to play with the other colors just to see what they look like. That is truly impressive. So here's where we are so far with our samples. Starting at the far left, we got the DupliColor. That's their automotive metallic series in chrome, followed up by the Krylon Premium Metallic Original Chrome, and then the Krylon Dual Superbond silver metallic color, which we discovered is Actually has some like metal flake in it. It almost looks like a bass boat or maybe a fishing lure or something. It's an interesting finish, not really what I'm going for, but it does kind of have that, 70s fiberglass look to it. So kind of cool. And then the fourth one in is the Spaz Stix. That's their Ultimate Mirror Chrome. That one doesn't look too bad at all, but again, that is a very fragile finish which needs a top coat, and I believe when you put the top coat over it, it's going to turn a gray and you're going to lose that mirror. The fifth one in, that's our Rub and Buff in the Silver Leaf. And then that's followed by actual Silver Leaf, where I think I didn't let the sizing set up quite long enough. It looked like it got a little gummy on us. I could probably do a better job with that, but I don't really think that's necessary because that final one there, the nail polish, that is the clear winner. That is as close to a mirror chrome as I have ever seen on anything I've ever made. And I'm pretty impressed with that. It really makes me want to find a project just to try those other colors to see how they look. So I'd like to mention that I did try to electroplate these parts. As a matter of fact, I spent a lot of time and money trying to electroplate these parts, but in order to electroplate something, it has to be conductive. In the case of plastic, you have to coat it with some sort of conductive paint, and that's where the problem was. I could not get that paint to reliably stick to the hood ornament pieces made out of urethane. My solution worked great. I was able to electroplate this penny. It's very nice and shiny and silver, but I could not do the same thing with the hood ornament pieces. All right, so this video was supposed to be over. I was doing my final edits and getting ready to release it, except I received a package in the mail today. It's a package I've been waiting for quite a while. It finally showed up, and it's this little box right here that just says mirror on it. And this is supposed to contain the world's mirroriest mirror paint. And believe me, that's hard to say. So with a name like that, we kind of have to give it a try. Now, this comes from a company called Culture Hustle. They're out of the UK and can't get it on Amazon, so it doesn't quite fit into my desire for a product I can just hop on Amazon and easily buy. But again, with a name like that, I just got to give it a try. Okay, I have not tried this. You are seeing this live with me. There was some protective wrap around the bottle. I took that off, but that's all I've done. Creator of the paint, he says to just barely get any paint at all on your paintbrush. I've seen some other people actually trying to use this stuff, and based on what the creator says, all those people used way too much paint. So we're going to try to use just the bare minimum possible. I'm just going to use it out of the cap here. Just like Bob Ross used to say, just 3 hairs and some air. We're going to barely put it in there, and that's all that's on there. This stuff is supposed to have amazing coverage. It seems to do a pretty good job of leveling out its brush strokes. There are 2 thoughts I have right now. Like all the other finishes, this is going to be susceptible to imperfections in the surface, and the nail polish kind of shines a little bit there in that area because the UV Cure resin is quite a bit thicker and can fill some of these spots. The other thing is that when you're done with the nail polish, you're done. This stuff here, we need to wait for it to finish drying. So the world's mirroriest mirror paint, I believe it lives up to its name. It's certainly better than all the other paints we tried, but I don't think it lives up to our nail polish solution. I think this is the clear winner still of all of these pieces. Now, I think a little more experimentation here is in order. I think we need to find a resin that is still compatible with these powders, but maybe comes in a larger container instead of the little nail polish bottles, because that would certainly make things easier. But I'm very pleased with these results. I can actually see myself in that. If you want to see more of this project where we're restoring this vintage carnival ride, click that link to the left and I'll catch you over there.